You're listening to Distraction Therapy with Rob Watson. Conversations about how we find meaning in our lives and what it's like to be part of a meta-modern world. Hello, Rob Watson here with another episode of Distraction Therapy, and today I'm going to be playing some music. I've got music from Alifa Onals, who else have I got? Mark Slater, Can, Tosca, Johan Johansson, among others. And what I kind of maybe want to talk about is just a few thoughts about a process that I'm engaged in through these podcasts and through developing some other radio projects that I'm working on, which is about dialogue and reflection and what we mean by bringing forward ideas in a kind of emergent sense. So part of what we've talked about in the podcasts I've done with Ryan is the meta-modern notion of developmentalism, emergence, and kind of critical reflection, but critical reflection on our sense, feeling and intuition, those inner conversations that we have, not just the outer sensed data that we are expected to process, and maybe is something that characterises a lot of how we're expected to think in modern society. So I'm going to kind of just play a few tracks and just maybe have a couple of minutes in between them and ramble on a bit. But this first track is The Bottom Line.
All or
Hi, you're listening to Distraction Therapy with me, Rob Watson. Part of the work that I've been doing recently is supporting some research groups working at a university to do some international collaboration, some international discussion and engagement, and we've been using Zoom and Teams and teleconferencing to connect with people around the world. And it's fascinating as a process of exchange and information development. And one of the, I was asked yesterday on a call that I was on to just explain what the methodology is that I use. I was really surprised that I kind of never really thought about it consciously that I have a methodology for it, but it was said to me, 3Ds, because I said it's deliberative, it's developmental, and don't leave a good conversation in the room. And I think one of the things that we can maybe think about how we use our media is to reconfigure, in part, the kind of nature of our engagement with one another through and with our media, that opens things up to something which is a bit more emergent and a bit more, we don't really know what it is that we're going to say at any particular point. Now, we don't really know what we're hearing from other people, but we attune ourselves to listen to people and to find out what it is that they are trying to say and encourage the bringing forward of those thoughts, because so much of our thinking comes from, or our cognition comes from our intuitive unconscious self, that sometimes we don't know what we're going to say before we say it. And it's a bit like a dance that we've not performed until we've performed it. We don't know what structure it's going to take. We don't know how it's going to play out. We don't know how it's going to be received. And I find the work that the people that I've been working with recently, and I'd love to be able to kind of take this forward into other domains as well, that it's, you kind of got to park your ego. It's not about doing presentations of information. It's not about telling people how things are, but it's about listening and responding and reacting. And I just find the whole kind of process of developmental engagement through facilitated by teleconferencing to be quite fascinating. Adopting a more listening stance, a stance in which we are open and receptive to ideas coming forward, is something of a challenge and a change for me. I've kind of lived in a world where it's been about accumulating facts and evidence, and to kind of step away from that and to start to look at things that are a bit more poetic and maybe defined through aesthetic principles as a priority is quite interesting. So I'm reading a bit about German idealism at the moment and looking at the work, starting to tentatively get to grips in some way with Schopenhauer and Schelling and Kant as a way of informing. I've always assumed that German idealism was this idea of kind of transcendental or metaphysics, was quite mystical and, if you like, wrapped up in a religious view, but it's not necessarily that. Actually, I found reading Schelling to be quite pragmatic in the sense that he defines the process of knowledge development and understanding and consciousness awareness as being a process that takes place within human experience and not beyond human experience. And that mirrors what Kant talks about in relation to, to what extent can we know something in itself, and to what extent do we have this infinite capacity to imagine and to come up with ideas, which then allows us to reimagine how we see the world and view the world and engage with the world. And it's always fascinating to me now that we can come up with systems and ideas about what we should search for and how we should conceptualize the world around us, which get shifted because somebody's sat down and just thought about something. And how we step back from a society which is about accumulated evidence, randomized longitudinal trials, the distinction between, it's always thrown back if you're debating or discussing an issue with people on Twitter about the distinction between correlation and causation. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we live in, our understanding of a cause and effect universe is quite limited, and what we assume to be cause and effect, as Newton assumed, and it works very well up to a point until, say, Einstein comes along and reconfigures and repurposes that cause and effect notion, and then people go along beyond that and reconfigure that as well. And that's an interesting challenge, and it would be nice, I feel, if that we could reflect more of that in our media, that level of uncertainty, that level of kind of seeking to find out, seeking to understand, rather than projecting what it is that we think we know, projecting our certainties. If somebody tells you that they're certain about something, maybe we can head in the opposite direction. So you're listening to Distraction Therapy with me, Rob Watson, and the music that we've been playing today has been, let me just get my playlist up, Alafo Arnolds, Carolina Ayek, Mark Slater, Carmen Villain, Salamander, Tosca, Can, Bloom, Johan Johansson is the last track coming up in a moment. This idea of kind of emergent aesthetic practice is something I'm thinking through about in terms of radio. And listeners of sound art radio particularly will be used to this. I'm trying to put together a proposal at the moment to maybe establish a radio station. And I'm thinking through what that means to do as a meta-modern station. So something which is emergent, developmental, which is a strong focus on felt lived experience, rather than signposting things, rather than working with a overly structured format and schedule, but to open things up to something which is a bit more dynamic and free flowing. And my thinking is this is kind of bugs me on a personal level, is that I take on projects and try to develop projects of which I know nothing about. I've got a vague idea. I'm not well informed about contemporary music. I'm not well informed about contemporary sound art practice. I'm not well informed certainly about any of this on an international scale. I've not studied this, and yet somehow I had this kind of intuition to follow this route and to go along a route which says actually radio can be much more than just this is, and that we can use our listening skills and our ability to interpret intuitively and from within a set of ideas without having to always put things into an order, like an algorithm, if you like. Is that we can approach the medium of radio from an aesthetic, a poetic aesthetic, rather than an informational aesthetic. And this is an interesting challenge. So I'm at the beginning of this process, and I also want to try and figure out how to do this in a social way, using the techniques of social engagement through the internet and through social funding, crowdfunding, using a kind of social funding model, rather than thinking that it has to be done in a way which is commercial or is wrapped up with service contracts, and which follows the pathway of functionality. There will be a certain amount of that, because you've got to have a certain amount of structure. But what I want at this point, and I'm not sure how this would work out, is what do we do to put things in place where people feel that they can freely contribute, but don't have to explain what it is that they're contributing, but they can tap into something which is grounded in their aesthetic, their intuitive realm, the unconscious realm, that aesthetic experience of how do you bring that forward, rather than simply, just providing content almost for the sake of providing content, but at the same time ensuring that it kind of has some accessibility, and you have to build in patterns of what you deliver, because it might just be impossible to structure something 24 hours a day that has no structure, and I'm not sure how that is going to work. So I'm going to keep a keen ear on sound art radio over the next few months. A record, what did I do with that? Okay. Anyway, if you want to get in contact with me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at RobWMedia. I'm looking forward to a summer of getting out and about and doing some sound walks again. But hopefully this is a kind of relaxing interlude while I kind of gather my thoughts about what to do next. Speak to you soon. You've been listening to Distraction Therapy with me, Rob Watson. Find out more at robwatsonmedia.net or follow me on Instagram and Twitter at RobWMedia.